To engage with China is the only statement that has been made by the Ministry of External Affairs. Athar Khan joins me on Nation Wants to Know. Athar Khan, the Ministry of External Affairs extremely guarded in its statement, saying that India continues to engage with China. Any details of what this engagement is all about, and is there going to be any round of talks between any of the representatives of the Indian government and the Chinese government?
Oh, that's right, Navika. There's been constantly, as we talk about engagement, and has been said by the MEA right now, that India has peacefully trying to manage the issue or the disagreement with China on the border in Ladakh there. We understand that there's been a lot of frenetic activity behind the scenes because there were overtures made to China in the past couple of days. Field commanders have had a meeting. We also understand there have been furious diplomatic back channels that have been engaged with China right now. We in fact also saw what happened yesterday with the Chinese ambassador to India, Sun Weidong, making conciliatory responses and noises. That's all a result, Navika, of the hard work that has been done by the Ministry of External Affairs behind the scenes. Now, we also understand that the idea behind the MEA being very guarded, as you put it right now, by saying whatever they want to say officially, but the crux of the matter is most of whatever engagement is happening, India, the MEA, the government would prefer it to be behind the scenes and perhaps give out details only after a favorable situation which is favorable to India has come forward. As we understand through our sources within the MEA right now, that's still in the process. There is outreach still on right now at various diplomatic levels with Beijing, and hence we see this guarded reaction coming in from the MEA. But our sources also indicate, Navika, that there has been much progress that has been made by the Indian side by reaching out to China and trying to get an amicable diplomatic solution to whatever disagreement we have in Ladakh currently with the Chinese PLA, so that we can resolve that without any loss of face and in fact without giving an inch to China.
So for the moment, New Delhi and Beijing very guarded on what they have to say about the engagement between the two countries. The border situation continues to remain as is, where Chinese troops have been deployed. India in an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation, but waiting for some diplomatic and strategic breakthrough. For the moment, India deciding not to back off and continue with infrastructure building in the Ladakh area. Thank you, Athar Khan, for joining me on Nation Wants to Know. And let's go to our top story, which is our focus tonight on Times Now. India's not just fighting its enemies knocking on our borders, but also those within. While China eyes Ladakh, its proxies have been provoking India. Satellite images expose China's treachery on the line of actual control, while its own proxy, Pakistan, bleeding India from within. Instead of standing up for India and supporting the resolve of our braves, it is actually in National Conference patron Farooq Abdullah's daughter, Safia, who has now reduced this standoff to a mere joke. Now, should we see this as just a tongue-in-cheek comment? Because Safia Abdullah Khan tweets, "Let's wait for the Chinese, maybe they will restore 4G in Jammu and Kashmir." Joining me on this story is Pradeep Datta, joining me live. And Pradeep, I want to ask you, isn't this an outrageous statement that has been made, or are people in Jammu and Kashmir looking at it from the point of view of just a light-hearted comment, not to be taken seriously, but coming as it does from the family of the first political family of Jammu and Kashmir? Can it be taken as lightly as they would want us to?
Navika, this is not only obnoxious, but it's an outrageous comment that is coming from a family that had been ruling Jammu and Kashmir for so many decades. And how come one take it non-seriously? Some people might call it a tongue-in-cheek remark, but they have forgotten that the same father of her daughter as well as her brother, they too had been following the policy of terror appeasement. They were the one who had been glorifying stone pelters. And today the similar kind of a statement coming from our daughter's side, it is not only insulting the martyrs, it's also trying like sprinkling salt salt on the wounds of the family members of the martyrs who have sacrificed their life, whether it was 1962 war, whether it was the 4 wars which we have fought with Pakistan. And that too at a day, on a day, when already in fact security forces have foiled attempt by Pakistan proxies to carry out Pulwama kind of bombing. Instead, they should have stood with the security forces and tried to condemn and criticize China and their chamcha Pakistan, telling them that this is not the time to spill blood of the Kashmiris on Indian soil. But what they are trying to do is instead they are trying to give shot in the arm of these people, as in fact some of the panelists earlier were talking about. How China is able to mobilize opinion in their favor. It is basically because of these lobbies and these people who are here on Indian soil. I think they are more bigger a threat to the country than even the threat from China or the Pakistan side, because Indian troops know.
Well said,
Well,
Pradeep, because actually I don't
don't
find anything amusing in this attempt at lightheartedness from Safia Abdullah Khan. And joining me on this debate where we ask the question, is 4G more important than our braves? Is it more important than our national security? And to debate this with me, I have with me Amit Raina, Kashmiri activist, joining me live, and also Babar Qadri, who joins me live. And Amit Raina, I want to ask you, would you actually put this off? Oh, not a very important comment. It's actually coming from Safia Abdullah Khan, the first political family of Jammu and Kashmir, and it was in a light-hearted vein. Can you take the lives of our forces for granted, our martyrs for granted, and can you take China's occupation now of Jammu and Kashmir as a matter that can be joked about?
Navika, I would see as a mindset of Abdullah family, the family which says one thing in Delhi and one thing in Kashmir, the mindset today gets reflected clearly in the tweet. She may now try to deny it by saying it's a tongue-in-cheek comment, but it is an insult to the sovereignty of the nation. It is an insult to the soldiers who are struggling with Chinese out there. It's an insult to soldiers who are at LOC giving up their lives, at LAC giving up their lives, fighting the integrity, the sovereign rights and the sovereign territory of this nation. This is exactly the mindset. How can you even compare the sovereignty of this nation with 4G, which you are not getting? A luxury product cannot be compared with the unity and integrity of this nation, but that's what she does, and that's the mindset of the Abdullahs, which we all know, and it gets exposed day by day.
Babar Qadri, 4G more important than India's sovereignty? Can you joke about India's sovereignty? Can you talk about in a light-hearted manner, ki chalo, India or Kashmir, China is going to come and rule us, or maybe अगर आपकी खुशी देखी जाए तो शायद आप पाकिस्तान को भी वेलकम कर लेंगे. बाबर कादरी, ये क्या एक चुटकुलों का विषय है?
नाविका जी, मैं एक चुटकुला नहीं, एक शेर अर्ज करता हूँ. हमारा नर्म रौसाक़ी पयाम ज़िंदगी लाया, ख़बर लाती थी जिनको बिजलियाँ वो बेखबर निकले. देखें, मसला ये है कि हमने बहुत कोशिश की, ये इंटरनेट, हमने सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी दरख्वास्त की, वहाँ पर भी कुछ इंसाफ नहीं मिला. द गवर्नमेंट प्रेजेंट पोलिटिकल डिस्पेंसेशन इज़ एट वॉर विद द पीपल ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, स्पेशली द वैली. वी आर डिप्राइव्ड टुडे विद द jurisdiction of high court.
Is that why our braves are giving up lives every day when Pakistan is shelling? Are they doing that to protect the lives of people in Jammu and Kashmir, or do you think they are at war with the people of Jammu and Kashmir? How dare you say that, Babar Qadri? How dare you say that? Why don't you go and ask the families of each of these forces who have been martyred there on what do they think?
You have already lost 25 kilometers to Chinese. You are not mustering courage to talk to them. You have lost 25 kilometers today. You have already surrendered Aqsa to China during 6
So you are looking forward. So you are looking forward to 4G services from China. Is that more important than the sovereignty of India?
Our rights doesn't matter for you.
अगर आपकी बात मान भी ली जाए कि सच है, on a day when India is losing territory to China, as you say, which is not true, you will celebrate it? You will celebrate it with Chinese coming and setting up your 4G? Have you lost all sense of proportion?
in the garb of national interest and sovereignty and security
Babar
perception,
Qadri,
you are
Mr. Babar Qadri, your request for 4G services, internet services has been rejected by the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court, and rightly
what
so,
I'm saying.
has put national security above your
remedies have been
jokes.
exhausted.
Amit Raina,
What we can now do, we can only now make
You
jokes
are
about
now doing a contempt of
alternative-
court, Babar Qadri, by
alternative
saying
remedies
that
have been
Supreme Court is
exhausted.
in fight
We
with
don't
the
have any
state of
expectation now.
people of the
Now we
state.
can make jokes only.
No,
What
no,
is
you
left with
are,
us?
while you are
We can only
uninformed,
make jokes.
taking ISI line on what is happening
Your
at
governance
LAC,
model
you
your
should be
governance-
knowing
governance
Indian
model
Army
is
has
such
accessed
that we
the
can only
area
make
which
jokes.
it has not
We
accessed for
cannot
58
expect
years.
anything. See,
And that's
sir,
where the
Amit
problem
Shah,
of Chinese
no,
is.
देखें-
And that's
देखें,
where the
आपने
problem of
25
Chinese is.
किलोमीटर आज भी खोया
आप
है,
ये
लद्दाख में
ISI
आपने
की
Chinese को
बादशाह
दिया है।
बात ना
पहले
करिए।
ऑक्साइड चीन भी आपने
पहले
सरेंडर किया है।
ठीक है, आपने नहीं आपने क्या
Babar Qadri, I want to ask you, Babar Qadri, are you an Indian?
You are losing
Are you an Indian?
territory.
Are you an Indian? Do Indian soldiers defend your state and our territory?
You are answerable to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. You are answerable to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
And you are not answerable to the people of India.
China.
And you are not answerable to the people of
You
India
should-
when you talk
you
about
should make
China
your
coming and
government
giving you
answerable.
4G services.
आप अपने government
Have
को
you ever
answerable
thought
बनाना
about
चाहिए।
China
जमीन
and
पे
how
हुआ
it
है।
treats its Uyghur Muslims? How does China treat its Uyghur Muslims? बताइए तो सही बाबर कादरी साहब.
I cannot fight there. It is government which is
So
being
government
made
will give you
accountable
money,
and
government will
accountable.
fight
You should
there
ask
for
questions
you,
to Narendra Modi and Amit Shah.
government will
Where are
create
they?
infrastructure for you, government will give you jobs, government will give you subsidy, government will give you unlimited money, but you will abuse the same government, you will abuse the same sovereign territory of India, and you will look for China to support you. जिस थाली में खाते हैं उसमें छेद कर रहे हैं.
How come our support will count on? You don't treat us as you do not treat us citizens. You are not allowing us to explore fast.
You create your own
See
story.
sir, आप हमें इंटरनेट से डिप्राइव कर रहे हैं. आप हमें सिटीजन ही नहीं मानते. वैली को आप इंसान ही नहीं समझते. जम्मू कश्मीरियों को आप इंसान ही नहीं समझते. हमारे सपोर्ट से आपको क्या हासिल होगा? आप ये पूछें नरेंद्र मोदी से कि लद्दाख के 25 किलोमीटर और ऑक्साइड चीन कहाँ है? चाइना के साथ दो हाथ करें ना. चाइना से के खिलाफ वॉर करें ना. Go and fight war with China. Don't teach me here.
तो I want to ask you, बाबर कादरी, चाइना से दो हाथ कौन करेगा? आप करेंगे या हमारे फोर्सेस करेंगी?
आप करें. आपकी आर्मड फोर्सेस करेंगी.
अच्छा, फोर्सेस करेंगी ना. फोर्सेस आपके लिए अपनी जान हथेली पर रखकर वहां बॉर्डर पर आपकी लड़ाई लड़ेंगी और उसके बाद आप कहेंगे कि चाइना ले आओ, हमारे लिए 4G सर्विसेज चाइना देगी.
क्या किया है आप बताएं? 25 किलोमीटर उन्होंने सरेंडर किया है चाइनीज के सामने. हाथ जान हथेली पे रख के क्या किया उन्होंने? धक्का मुक्की कर रहे हैं. जंग करें ना.
बाबर कादरी
1 मिलीमीटर नहीं दिया है चाइना को. 1 मिलीमीटर. आप जैसे लोग हमेशा इंडिया को नीचा और चाइना और पाकिस्तान को ऊंचा दिखाना चाहते हैं.
आज लद्दाख में कांग्रेस लीडर ने बोला कि 25 किलोमीटर चाइना ने लिया है.
हाँ, तो कांग्रेस लीडर बोलेगा और आप मान लेंगे.
Be answerable to the nation.
आप मान लेंगे. आप अपनी गवर्नमेंट की कोई बात नहीं मानेंगे. बाकी कोई भी कुछ कहेगा आप मान लेंगे. बाबर कादरी,
don't play second fiddle to government.
1 minute.
You are becoming official spokesperson.
1 minute. No, I'm not an official spokesperson of any government. I'm the official spokesperson for India. It is my country. My country's sovereignty is not negotiable, Mr. Babar Qadri. Mr. Babar Qadri, my country's sovereignty is not negotiable. I don't listen to other people on the sovereignty issue of my country. I only listen to what the Indian side will tell me. I will not listen to what people come and inform you, people who have vested interest. Amit Raina, I want to get you in. Calm down. I'm going to put your fader down. Amit Raina, I want to ask you. Today, Babar Qadri says that India has exceeded 25 kilometers and he has heard it from some Congress leader. I want to ask you, this is the same lobby that actually expects jobs, subsidies, money, development, infrastructure building, everything from the Indian government through its money. It also wants our braves and forces to guard them both from China on one side and Pakistan on the other. And these forces, our braves, should lay down their lives saving the country. और ये क्या करेंगे? ये क्या करेंगे? They will tom-tom rumors and wrong news and fake news about China taking away territory from India, and we should suffer them silently.
Navika, I have an objection with his using the word saying you. Your army. What does he mean, your army? Is he a Pakistani? He needs to clarify that. Every time he says your army, Babar Qadi, are you a Pakistani? Secondly, please get your information right. Ask your masters at ISI. India has accessed areas which it had not patrolled from 62 onwards. Those are the areas which Indian army has today patrolled, where it is building infrastructure. Where it is building infrastructure. Because you are a Pakistani who needs to be exposed. You are a Pakistani who needs to be exposed. You need to tell me India is building infrastructure in areas where it had not done for last 50 years. So if Pakistan has given you a brief,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought, and maybe I was wrong in thinking, that every Indian today would stand with the Indian forces, with the Indian army in taking on China on one side and Pakistan, which attempted another Pulwama-like terror attack today in Jammu and Kashmir. But maybe I was wrong, because there are some people who will justify China take on India. They will make a joke about India's sovereignty, and all for what? A 4G connection. That's how cheap their patriotism is. What do you think? Well, thanking Babar Qadri and Amit Raina for joining me on Nation Wants to Know. We'll slip into a short break. More news coming up on the other side. A day after China talked about maintaining peace and friendly relations with India, the real intentions of Beijing stand exposed. Satellite imagery has revealed how, while China claims that everything is stable on the border, it is slowly preparing its troops for an escalation. Satellite evidence shows how China has recreated Ladakh layout for the strategic training of its troops in Helanshan. The Chinese army has recreated the Ladakh war room model, which is supposedly the biggest ever in the world. And that tells you the scale to which China is planning an escalation. So while the world is being told that the situation at the border is stable and controllable, and those are the words used by the Chinese foreign spokesperson, secretly China is busy training its forces to grab Indian territory in Ladakh. And joining me on this story is our internal security editor, Nikunj Garg. Nikunj Garg, this image that we have been able to access, which shows how a copy of the Ladakh war room has been made on the China side with trucks, power unit, with all sorts of ammunition and security forces, helipads, etc., clearly shows the real intentions of China at this moment. Can India ever take anything that China says on face value?
Not at all, not at all. And I think the strategic thinking lies particularly in dealing with a nation like China, Navika, at all times in erring on the side of caution. In diplomatic matters, in any case, if you have to err, you rather err on the side of caution. With Chinese, this is particularly true. The fact of the matter is, Navika, that we have shown to our viewers today the preparations that are going behind the LAC, on the Chinese side of line of actual control. Yesterday, for the first time, we put out the number of troops, close to 2.5 army battalions, 2,500 men that Chinese have amassed on the line of actual control. If there is no intention of any kind of escalation or transgression, then what are the 2.5 battalions of the Chinese People's Liberation Army doing in a static format in the eastern Ladakh frontier and on the most of the line of actual control uninhabited territories? These are only long-range patrol-dominated areas. Patrols go from our side, patrols come from their side. Patrols meet sometimes their ways don't cross. But there are no static locations in those parts of the world and those parts of the heights. So what is it that the Chinese are doing, amassing 2.5 battalion of the frontline troops, including, as you said, with all the support arms? Quite clearly, there is something amiss. Quite clearly, there is something grander or bigger than usual provocations that Chinese continue to do in the disputed areas, according to them. These are settled areas according to our perception, but they continue to keep them disputed only for a larger, grander purpose. And the purpose right now, Navika, is that they are facing increasing international flack and scrutiny from multilateral bodies, and sensing that India will always be a bulwark of the Western world against the Chinese aggression. They are trying to show to the world that we can bring even the Indians to the heel. So do not push us into a corner beyond a point. That's the grander, bigger message CPC is wanting to send to the world. India must not budge, and that's what the Prime Minister's office's message to the troops and general public is also, that the resoluteness of Indian side will not show any wavering.
Absolutely. And Nikunj, just before I wrap this show, I want to ask you, is it any completely unconnected event when we see a Pulwama-like attack that is planned by China on a day India is engaged in this side of the border? There is a Pulwama-like attack that is made on India, which is thwarted by our forces. Coincidence, you would say? Or would you say this is the deep planning, and how Pakistan is just a proxy of China doing the bidding of China?
Well, absolutely, Navika. Even till the time of Kargil war, China was trying to needle India in the areas where Indian positions were moved to the forward location, courtesy the Kargil war. I do not see it as a completely unconnected event. It's a proxy getting emboldened by covert and overt support from the Pakistanis. I would not even be, surprised if the messages have gone from the deep establishment on our eastern frontier to our western frontiers to escalate this situation on both the frontiers. And it is not this kind of attack that they were planning with massive RDX, massive explosives recovered. This kind of planning does not happen overnight. Quite clearly, a lot of planning, conspiracy, training goes into it. And therefore, I certainly will not see it as an unconnected event, Navika.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The plot hatched by China, followed by Pakistan, and in India, it is a resolute image that India has projected. We are not backing off anytime soon. In fact, India has sent a replacement of troops which are being acclimatized, not deployed, but ready for all eventualities. Thank you for joining me on Nation Wants to Know. Thank you, Nikunj. It's a wrap for now. News on the other side.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation Wants to Know, and I'm Swati Joshi. Well, there's a breaking input coming in, and this is about Vijay Mallya's extradition. We are being told that it is unlikely that Vijay Mallya will be extradited to India on 14th of June. Sources, in fact, are telling India that the British Home Office has put his extradition on hold, and certain technical reasons have been cited behind this decision taken by the British Home Office. Vijay Mallya's extradition has been put on hold, so he will not be extradited on the completion of the stipulated 28-day period. That's the update coming in at this point in time. UK government has cited two reasons. We'll try and go across to our reporters to get you more details. We've been told that his asylum plea is pending with British Home Office. In fact, Nikunj, our editor, Internal Security, is joining us on the broadcast. Let's go across to him. So, technical reasons have been cited by the British Home Office, and for now, the extradition of Vijay Mallya has been put on hold.
Well, absolutely, Swati. Big piece of news breaking for our viewers at this point of time. As always, first on Times Now, Mr. Vijay Mallya's extradition has been put on a technical hold by the British Home Office, and this has been conveyed to the Indian authorities as well. And consequently, the Central Bureau of Investigation and other agencies whose team was supposed to land in the UK to fetch him back through a special flight as of now, are also on the hold. And there are multiple reasons for this technical hold. One of the principal reasons for this technical hold by the British Home Office is the fact that Mr. Mallya has applied for an asylum. Asylum status, or the asylee status for the individual concerned, is something about which the British Home Office, as is the practice in multiple other countries, including India, does not comment on publicly. But when they say technical hold, that's reason number one. Reason number two, of course, I am given to understand is that Mr. Mallya is indebted to the banks and to the financial institutions in the United Kingdom's jurisdiction also. And before they send him back packing to India to fight his financial crimes that he's being accused of in this jurisdiction, they want their money back, and therefore they would want Mr. Mallya to first cough up that money that he owes to the British financial institutions or the British affiliated financial institutions in their jurisdiction, and post that only can he be transferred. But for now, the big piece of news breaking on Vijay Mallya saga is that British Home Office has put his extradition on technical hold. So for Indian agencies, despite winning a very long, hard-drawn battle in the British courts at multiple levels, a bit of a heartbreak at this point in time.
Right.
They won't have, by all means, it looks like, at this point in time, Vijay Mallya in their custody to physically grill him and produce him in front of an Indian court of law.
Right. Nikunj, thank you very much for joining us with those details. We're moving on now to the other big development, relief that came in from the Supreme Court for the migrant laborers who were in fact left in lurch by the states. The Supreme Court shamed states for doing so and have announced 4 relief measures. The Supreme Court in fact has put the onus on the state governments by saying that the travel cost of the migrants will have to be taken care by the states. The originating states will have to provide food and water to the migrants. The registration process would have to be made a little easy to avoid the confusion and the long queues outside the railway stations. And fourth is that those currently walking back home would have to be taken to shelter homes. The Supreme Court also has said that all information for those concerned be published to avoid any miscommunication. Let's go across to our guests on the broadcast. Suvin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us along with Ketan Vaidya, senior journalist, and Sundar Balakrishnan, political analyst. Good evening to all of you. Let me first go across to Mr. Balakrishnan. This relief was expected from the politicians, from the state governments. To an extent, of course, the migrants were also hoping that the centre would step in and pull up maybe the state governments who were not able to help them. But this has come from the top court.
Down the line, I tell you, everybody right from the centre to the state has, ditched the county. This government, I tell you, especially the central government, has money to but don't have trained to their hometown. Now, let me tell you, this is a total failure. Now, when they send, they are asking the state government for the name. Tell me, how on earth is it possible to give the names to the railways? What they are supposed to do, as far as I am concerned, is they should give a timeline as to this date, they will run the trains to Bihar or UP, and that is how they will run the train. Whether it is going to be full or half, whatever it is, they should run the train like that. No, there is an absolute systemic failure as far as the coordination between center and the state is concerned.
Right, but Ketan Vaidya, the Supreme Court has put a hard stop to it. The Supreme Court has said you have to fix the discrepancies and you have to take into account the plight of migrants, many of those who were forced, in fact, to, march towards their home states on foot.
The blame for the whole COPA that has happened, because one saw that trains that were scheduled for a certain destination, this just strayed away. I mean, this shows complete systemic failure. Also, the fact that the first lockdown was initiated by giving only 4 hours notice. So you have source and you have destination states. for any migrant situation. And one saw visuals that were really heart-wrenching beyond the politics of it. And clearly, to just be the devil's advocate, one can see that Maharashtra and the center are bickering. But Kerala objected, West Bengal objected. In terms of, in the spirit of cooperative federalism, there was no plan. The railway ministry had to speak publicly about the train coordination. I mean, this is the least that government do. Otherwise, on normal days, the kind of operational efficiency that it shows or it is capable of showing completely failed this time.
Right. Ketan Bhai, just stay on with us. We also have Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. Tuhin Sinha, the centre also was blamed for the mismanagement and miscommunication we saw of war of words between the railway ministry and the state governments. The states are alleging that the railways aren't giving them enough time in, letting the migrants know about the schedule of the train. And we saw allegations being levelled from both sides.
Swati, let me point this out that around the mid of April, Uddhav Thackeray has been asking the centre to make arrangements to take migrant workers back to their respective states. And even till date, which is roughly 42 days later, when we make all the arrangements, he is not ready with the list. I can show you a report published in Times of India around 2 weeks ago, which clearly mentions that according to a survey done up till 26th April last month, 96% of the migrant workers had not received ration from state government. So as a result of which, their desperation today is very understandable. If you just, walk across, if you go to the highway, leaving Mumbai to any of the bigger towns, especially towards the Indore side, till about a week back, you would see thousands of people across the entire stretch. Why? Because they were forced to flee because the state government was not able to make adequate arrangements. So I think, the central government has run 3,000 plus trains and is willing to run another 3,000 plus trains. But I think the state government needs to be a little
So let's listen to their views as well on the point that you've made. Sundar Balakrishnan first and then Ketan Vaidya.
Yeah, let me tell you about the ration, let me tell you. Dharavi, for example, I know the Dharavi full area quite closely. Dharavi has full of migrant labor. You know how many ration shops are there? And do you know how the ration is given to these migrant laborers? When they go there, they are asked for various documents. And when they go there, they are not given this ration. I am telling you, you go and find out. Each and every migrant laborer will tell you that they have not received the ration. Even the food that is being served there, it is served only for 500 or 600 people only. It is not being served. Show me one shelter home in Maharashtra or Mumbai. You show me one shelter
yes,
home.
Okay, Ketan Vaidya, but can you blame the centre only for this? When it comes to these discrepancies and mismanagement in a state like Maharashtra?
Well, the state had made it clear. There were camps for migrant laborers. Food was provided. I don't know from where the people who got it is information. The food may have been inadequate because it's a given fact that only 8% of our labor is organized. So the rest of the sector is unorganized and spread. That doesn't take the blame of government. I'm just stating some simple facts. And before Piyush Goyal raised a hue and cry, the state had already sent 7.34 lakh migrant laborers to 550 trains. If the centre or the BJP, so to say, is collectively putting out figures, public view, then won't have picture.
Anyhow, we are hoping now that after the Supreme Court has made it clear to the states that the states will have to bear the cost of travel of the migrants, and it will have to ensure that they are supplied with food and water during their journey, and the registration process is smoothened for the migrants. Let's hope to see some changes on ground. Let's see the state governments and the centre work together and put an end to their misery. Mr. Balakrishnan, Tuhin Sinha and Ketan Vaidya, thank you very much for joining us in the debate.